Hello, I am TurboK1000. This is like my third rewrite of this entire sequence because I keep going off topic. I'm not using a script for this, so there will be mistakes, there will be problems, there will be pretty much anything wrong with it, but this is technically my first vlog. I don't even feel comfortable doing this, but I thought it was about time I got myself out there a bit more. Not professionally, but just known. First of all, the first thing I want to talk about is how I make art, where I store it, what I do, basically. It's not going to be a long video, I hope. It's probably going to be a long video. As long as it's under like 15 minutes, it's fine. But every week I'm going to be making a new video. This time it's my process. Well, it's not really my process, it's what I use and how I use it. The light box is not included, it's quite heavy, and I stored it somewhere safer for now, because it is quite fragile. Well, it's not fragile, it's more like, well, it's expensive and it's precious, and I don't want it to get broken. So, first off, I'm going to explain what tools I use and where I use them. First of all, this is my bedroom, if anyone can tell. I tend to do more art in my room than anywhere else in the house, because I feel more comfortable here, because this is my area. This is pretty much the house is my area, but this is what I do. It's just more comfortable here because I've got my music and I've got everything, and I don't like watching telly when I'm working on things because I get distracted like I am now. First I'll explain what I use. I use technical pencils, which are about cheap. I've got these sets, except for the black one if I get rid of that, because I don't remember where I got that, but I've got 5 of these in different colours, splayed around. And 5 of them cost 50p. So I got 2 packs for £1, so I've got 10 new pencils that I just bought the other day. They have yet to be used, and I've got this cheap one that I found that I got in another set. I don't remember where I put it. This is the one I'm using right now for my newest manga art, which is on there. That's a sandwich, I'll get rid of that. That's going to be yummy. Next I use rulers. I don't use these often, but lately I've been doing more manga art and like proper manga pages, and I've been needing to use them because no one wants wonky manga lines, do they? So I've got 2 of these. I've got 2 smaller ones as well, but I really forgot they existed, so they're not out here. I will be explaining my sketching equipment in detail in a later video. I'll have 1 video per week, so this is just today's video, and I use 1 opaque and 1 clear. The opaque one is less used because it's opaque, because I can't see which lines I'm using. This is my trusty eraser. Sorry. I've got 2 of these. One of them hasn't been used yet, and in my sketching video I'll show the difference between them because of size, because this one has been used non-stop since November, I think. No, December. January, December, around that time. Ever since like then, I've been spamming this thing, and I literally lost it once and cried because I couldn't find it, and I didn't want to start opening the new one, so I just searched my entire room out for it. That was fun. Next, I use fine liners. I use these fine liners more than any, but I am thinking of getting new types with this latest art haul I'm thinking of getting, which I can't get today because I'm busy. So eventually I'll get around to finally ordering that stuff. These are my fine liners. This is Uniball, Unipin, let me find the name. Unipin black fine liners. These are waterproof. I got these at Hobbycraft, which is a British art site, shop and site. I'm not sure if they have this in this shop in other countries, but so far no one I know actually knows what it is. So, well, no one I know online in DeviantArt knows what it is, and I know mainly people from America. So, if they do, feel free to correct me in the comments. These are my Unipin fine liners. I usually call them Uniball. I got a 1.1, 0.1, a 0.2, 0.3, 0.5, and a 0.8. This is only ever used on massive drawings. But these 3 are like, well, these 2 here are like my babies. And this one I use when this one's running out, which it tends to be doing lately. So, and then I've got these, which I use for very complicated drawings. Ever since I got my light table, I've been using these because I couldn't use them before, because when I used the eraser, they would fade. But these are my Unipin fine liners, 0.05, all of them, basically. And they cost more than the actual fine liners did themselves. So, wow. And these are my manga nibs. I'm not going to put them out because I want to share at least some things for the manga video. I've already ruined my inking pens, but I've got so many more that I don't think anyone will care. But these I use more often than anything. I have been using the fine liners more often recently, but these are my babies. I absolutely adore these. These are more babies than them. These are my first nib set. and they still work. Though some of them are look clotted with ink, though none of them actually are. So I'm just going to move them to the side for now, and I'm going to explain the process of my storing, my art storage, how I store my art. First of all, I'll go with the first one I want to show you, which is my sketching folder. There are some drawings that I made mistakes on as well, like these ones. Like this one got ruined because the colouring didn't come out like I wanted, so I ended up printing out a new version and inking on that, which is the version you see on DeviantArt. But I keep mistakes because I think that you can learn from them, so I keep them. I keep pretty much any piece of art I've made, except for ones I've just started and gave up on. I bin those because they're on cheap paper, and I really don't like looking at work I don't plan on finishing. Unless it's really far through, then I look back at it and think of what methods I've used and how I can use them again. So this is the sketching process. I've even got some semi-ink drawings from when I didn't have a light box. I had to ink these before I could trace them because they were so faint. And then I got my light box, and this is actually the first drawing I did with my light box. And the light box has 3 settings, or several more. I'm not sure how many settings, because usually I just turn up to the brightest. But I should stop doing that because it will wear it out. But all I had to do is I had to use it on the brightest for this because I used watercolour paper. So this is the sketch, and I did the same thing for the rest, unfinished, until I got to this one, when I did such a bad sketch. It was good. It was a good sketch, but it was so rough and so damaged. I had to retrace the sketch with pencil again, just so I could see which lines are which. And that's when I inked it and then used my pens to shade it. So that's my sketching folder, and as you can see, I store them all in plastic wallets to keep them safe. Because I prefer to keep them in the sketchbook because I have damaged sketchbooks before, and I do have some nice art that have been ruined because of it. And the plastic wallets protect them from ink, and I usually have 2 per wallet, depending on what I'm doing. If it's a sketch of 3, then I might store 3 in one wallet, though that isn't very safe. They are sketches, so there's no chance of bleed. I'll explain more about my storing process when I get to the fan art folder, which is the one I've used this method on the best. Next is my manga folder, which has a basic key element. All my folders are different. I tend to use more coloured folders for my manga folders, so I know which ones are the keeps and which ones are the, well, which ones are my babies and which ones are fan art babies. This is my manga folder, and I use coloured card to show what I'm doing on which part. So basically I coordinate using coloured card because when I use dividers, it would screw it up because they would get damaged, and well, I couldn't keep them in plastic wallets because they had that little bit sticking out. So I bought some cheap coloured card, or hopefully cheap coloured card. I don't know, I got a friend to buy it for me. I paid her back. I forgot the price. But what I do is I use that to divide which parts are which, like the 7 deadly sins, the gods, which you've just seen, my manuscript one right at the back, the 10 commanders, pretty much anything. I've got more coloured card because I still have yet to finish the organising process, but I don't know what else I need yet, and I have taken a short break from this so I don't get bored of it. I plan on going back to it eventually, but I will get this one done because this is the manga I really, really, really want to share with people. And here's some empty wallets. They tend to fold over time, but they're still usable as long as you don't damage your paper. Just don't use overly damaged plastic wallets, otherwise it will damage your might damage your paper. And this is my baby. It's on a really badly accrued folder though, which is upsetting to me because it keeps shedding. The black keeps coming off, and it's bothering me because I always end up damaging the back of my pictures. Luckily it's the back, so it doesn't really bother me as much. But this is how I use my fan art folder. Basically, I put every drawing I do about fan art in this folder. I've got my marker drawings, my watercolour drawings, my pencil drawings, my ink drawings, my sketches that haven't been finished. FYI, DeviantArt, this is my Final Fantasy Deviants picture that I've yet to have finished. It is the birthday picture for Sylvia, and it's not done yet, but I have got the characters basically sorted. I just need to add details. I've got quite a lot of different things. It's just a crude little doodle I did for fun. Got quite a lot of different things in here, and this is where I'll explain the whole process of how I put the things down. I'm just going to crouch down so I can see what I'm doing better. I'm going to show you the process of how I store my pictures and why I store them like this. I'm going to be using my Sharpie drawings, for example, because they are the drawings that are most likely to bleed. Basically, this is how I store them. This is the picture itself. On the back there's the bleeding, see it? though it isn't a lot, smells powerful, and though it isn't a lot, it's still enough for me to worry. So what I do is, though there's 2 pictures, I actually went a bit paranoid with this one, and put 2 sheets of cheap paper in the middle, instead of 1, to catch any bleeding. Because I had a drawing once, which I did really good work on, and then I had a Sharpie drawing right in front of it, and when I went back, there was yellow all over the drawing, and it was just depressing. So I worked so hard on it. That one is still around. It is really old now, so I don't really plan on showing it. But you see, no bleed, no damage, even on the back. There's none of the other colours coming through from the other picture, which is why I'm so happy with this method. I recommend doing this to anyone who uses like media, any media really, to make sure you have the best display for your drawings. I'm going to put them back in a minute, because they are a bit difficult to put back with one hand. Before you do any sort of drawings like this, I would choose how you're going to store them. I even have an A3 storage, but I forgot to bring that out, so I might show that in a later date. If I ever do like an old art show video, which I really plan on doing, because that sounds like fun. But if you're ever going to do drawings like this, like thick drawings, thick paper, or any type of drawing at all, to minimise bleeding, I'd put at least 1 sheet of cheap copy paper or cheap printer paper in the middle. Otherwise there is a chance it'll bleed onto the next drawing, and even with thick paper I do this, even though I know it's thick paper, it's likely it's not going to bleed. I'd rather be safe than sorry. And honestly, any artist should be. If your art is so precious to you, you should really, really be careful with how you store it. That's basically all I've got in this folder, and pretty much anything I needed to tell you about these folders in general. So my process for drawing, this is nearly done, is I sketch, I use the ruler if necessary, I erase the lines that I don't need anymore, or now in these days I don't actually do that anymore, unless I'm erasing parts that went wrong, so I don't really do that anymore, but I used to erase the lines with this. Now I just get rid of the mistakes. And inking, and then once all the drawing is done, I store it, depending on where it is. If it's a sketch, it goes in here. If it's my personal manga, it goes in here. And if it's fan art, it goes in here, no matter what quality it's in. So I want to thank you all for watching this video. Oh, I forgot one more thing. What I use to draw on, this is my trusty table. I can't show you it because it's stored away right now, and I really don't have enough time. But this is basically what I use to draw on. Unless I'm sat at my desk, which is over there, I just store on here. I draw on here, I store it all on here, and then this is what I use to paint with because I can't do it at my desk. This is my watercolour table really, more than anything. Inking and watercolour, but I'm afraid to use ink because I haven't used it with a light table before, so that's kind of nerve-wracking, but I should try it at one point. So that is all I needed to show you. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you'll be back next week for the next video. Bye!